type of an issue and beginning to think outside the box. Some of you know that in the People's Institute we do something that's called a power analysis. And in the People's Institute power analysis, we identify basically systems and institutions that relate to our community, the poor community, African American community, any community, as feet of oppression, because they're stepping on people and kicking them and putting them down. So we're talking about feet of oppression here. So if we applied our power analysis concept to what we're talking about with the Rockefeller Drug Laws, and we begin to think of what are the systems and institutions sanctioned by the state that affect people who have been locked up. What are some of those systems and institutions? Call them out, please.
Social services.
Social services. How do they get in there in the first place, though? Who encounters them on the street? The police. And then the police take them where?
Prison.
Okay, so then you got the penal. But even before and after that goes badly for them, the way that they determine that happening is where? So that's the judicial. What other systems and institutions affect their lives?
The healthcare.
Healthcare system.
Education.
Education. What? Banks. There's something called prison industries, aren't there? Right? And there's privatization. So we say corporation. We got to put corporations up here, right? They're getting equipment from somewhere. These tasers are made by somebody, right? And they're getting all kinds of things and training from the U.S. government and so on. So there's other ways that we could do this, but I just try to do this as quickly as I can here. So then we call these feet of oppression because they're stepping on people. They're keeping them down. But as you know, having feet yourself, you know that everybody that's got a foot has something in back of their heel called what? An Achilles heel. Each one has an Achilles heel. What is the Achilles heel that we must focus on here? The Achilles heel that we must focus on is the fact that as we look at these systems and institutions, each one of them is getting federal dollars. Each one of these institutions having federal dollars cannot be used to violate people's civil rights, and they can't be used to violate people's human rights. And if you can prove something in a countable and measurable way that this has happened, you can write to someone and you can get them to investigate this. And these people that you write to is something called the OIG, the Office of Inspector General. And each government branch that gives out money anywhere for anything, in any place, at any time, has an Office of Inspector General. How did you know that there was pollution in the 911 site? Who did that investigation? The Office of Inspector General. How do we know that that there was really torture going on in Abu Ghraib and really torture going on at Guantanamo? Once again, the Office of Inspector General. And how do we know that the CIA hasn't been acting right lately? It's because of the Office of Inspector General. So each federal branch has an Office of Inspector General. One of the things that we have done with the Meiklejohn Civil Liberties Institute, we've been going into the South and all over the country recommending that, that everywhere that we see a human rights violation that has involved each one of these systems and institutions sanctioned by the state is getting federal dollars that violated the rights of people from Hurricane Katrina, we were advocating that in each instance where you can find that you write a letter to the Office of Inspector General, their investigations division, and let the chips fly where they may. and allegedly and theoretically they're supposed to follow up on any complaints that they get. Can you imagine what would happen with respect to not only Hurricane Katrina and all of the agencies that were involved in that, but the Rockefeller Drug Laws and all the ones that are involved in that, if someone strategically began to apply a civil rights and a human rights framework and counted and measured how the dollars that are going to each one of these instances is being used to mess up somebody's civil rights and human rights. I'm telling you, if Arsenio had his show, this would be something to make you say, something we might want to follow up on, right? So that's my first recommendation of how we can think outside the box in terms of fighting for the human rights violations or against those human rights violations. We have a lot of activated students here from Columbia University. Could you all raise your hand, these activated students that I'm talking about? These are radioactive students. Raise your hand. So I want you, those of you who are local doing this work, to look at these people who come to us as a result of the urging, and I don't know if she prodded you or enthusiastically encouraged you, Dr. Cheryl Franks of Columbia University, who just came in. So I'm glad that you have that influence to bring them here, because there's all kinds of other things that can be done. We can begin to press presidential candidates on upholding the civil rights and human rights treaties that we have, and then begin to raise questions about what about the ones that we haven't ratified. I don't see anybody raising those questions. You know, the job of the president has to do with treaties, signing treaties, making treaties. It's a job of Congress to ratify those treaties. Whether it's Obama, Clinton, or any of these other people, hopefully you don't get Giuliani up there. Is that the way you say his name? Yeah, well, that's the way you say his name. But at any rate, we need to, because some of us see him for all the people that died while he was the mayor, all the times that people got shot just going for their car keys or their wallet while he was shot, while he was shot to prominence as the America's mayor. Here we have women who were in their kitchen being shot by police, while he was mayor. Young people on the street shot while he was the mayor. So to me, I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly, so I call him Giuliani, because it seems like a lot of death follows anything that he's involved with. Investigation of prisons has to be accompanied by a human rights framework, which I've been telling you about. And then letters to elected officials urging repeal, on a human rights basis needs to be done. But then there's something else that needs to be done, and this is my last point. And I'll say this, is that one of the things that I learned last year hanging around the UN here in New York was that in one particular incident that I was listening, because I wanted to see what they would do when they cross-examine a country and what we would have to do as NGOs, non-governmental organizations, testifying. And what I found was that in one instance, I won't call out the name of the country, that I think was Norway, but they were talking about the human rights violations in Norway. Who knew that they're violating anything over there? I thought they were pretty liberal and cool. But if you're a person that's not white or blonde haired and you're Muslim or you're dark skinned, and particularly as a juvenile, you're going to be racially profiled, you're going to be locked up, you're going to be held incommunicado without any legal representation and all other kind of things. And here's the line of questioning that they ask. They ask, do the police forces in your country know about the human rights of the people that they're locking up according to the dictates of the treaty that you've signed on to? And they said, no, in their own way. Do the people who are in the jails know about the requirements of the human rights treaties? Do the educators in your nation know about the human rights of the children that they're teaching? Do the social workers know about the human rights of the people that they're trying to serve? Do judges and do attorneys know about the the human rights of the people that they're serving. And they said no on most of those things. Matter of fact, all of those things. And one of the great lies that the United States told when they were being cross-examined was that they said that all our educators, all of our media, all of our elected officials know about the human rights requirements. And I think that we need to begin to test that knowledge and test that lie by thinking outside the box and raising the question, what's human rights got to do with it? Thank you.